What is the EDD appeals process like? So if you can't reach a resolution in a payroll tax audit, you have essentially three options. The first option is to deal with the auditor and their manager. Oftentimes this can be problematic. Obviously this depends on the two people that are involved, and people are people. The EDD is like any other organization. You get good people and you get bad people. So depending on the relationship with the auditor that's been developed during the course of the audit, and depending on the relationship with the manager, it's going to change the dynamic on how things are resolved at that level. But going to the manager is always an option. Generally speaking, the manager is going to back their auditor's determination. It's not like the manager is going to sit there and throw the auditor under the bus. The purpose of bringing in the manager is you get somebody more senior, you get somebody who usually is a former auditor, but who has exposure to dealing with these issues and can often resolve tensions if they popped up in the audit process by being kind of the impartial, well, not impartial, but being kind of a third-party representative for the government to come in and resolve the situation. The managers don't really like dealing with these issues. They'd rather their auditor deal with these issues and not go to the manager, but that is a possibility. Above the manager at the EDD level, you also have the head of the audit division. You can go to the head of the audit division in certain cases, but as much as the managers don't like dealing with taxpayer issues, the heads of the audit division really don't like dealing with taxpayer issues. So if you can't resolve your audit at the district level, then you have the opportunity to go to either EDD appeals or EDD settlement. So the way the EDD appeals process works is like this. Essentially what you're doing is you're going in for a mini trial. You'll sit at a conference room table, you'll be on one side, the EDD will be on the other side, and you'll have a hearing officer who is usually an administrative law judge. The judge will swear the parties in, the EDD will present their side of the case first, the auditor is generally called as a witness, and then you go back and forth. The EDD gets a chance to examine their witness, the opposing attorney, usually us, gets a chance to cross-examine. We call our witnesses, they cross-examine, and vice versa. And then eventually, after the proceeding is over, after all the evidence is presented, the judge will make a decision. They usually issue it in about 3 months' time, and they'll issue a formal written decision on the matter. So that's what the appeals process is like. There are a lot of tactical considerations going into the appeals process. The first thing to consider is appeals at the EDD level is generally really backed up. It can take several years to get through and go all the way through an appeal. So there's a lot of factors that go in on it. But if you're having a dispute during the course of the audit, going to EDD appeals is always an option for you, and you shouldn't discount it. The other thing potentially to do is if you file an appeal and at least state your intent to go into EDD appeals, you can continue to work with the district and or the EDD attorney who's going to be involved in this case to try and negotiate a pretrial resolution. Again, depending on who the parties are involved and depending on the factual circumstances, that might be a good way to go. We've had some benefit in trying to leverage them to do things before trial. So I'd recommend at least exploring that as an option, or at least crossing it off if it's not a viable option, and then kind of going from there. But that's generally how the appeals process works if you go through EDD appeals.